Thursday morning, and we welcome you on board your darling program, our program AM Cafe on Osbc TV. From all the channels that are picking our signals from, we say good morning and thanks for joining us. Today, as usual, we have something that we need to discuss with you, and that some people might have been looking for answers to some questions, And so today we are looking at federal government banning the importation of vehicles of over 12 years. And some other things, and the high taxes placed on some imported goods too. We will be looking at this. Why at this time? What is the motive of the federal government, and other questions? Those are the things we want to look at this morning. We have a comrade in the house who will talk about it. Is an analyst on all levels, at all levels. Yes, he analyzes things, be it religion, be it politics, social, finance. You just name it. Comrade Fatai Tijani, good morning, sir.
Beautiful morning to our esteemed viewers at home. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, we said recently there's this news that the federal government placed ban on vehicles, importation of vehicles over 12 years. Now, the first question is, why now?
Yeah, well, I want to believe that the federal government has a way of cushioning the effects of banning those vehicles. Probably the assembly plants in Nigeria has gone back to functioning, and they believe that without stopping the importations, it may affect the activities of the plant, or probably the federal government has decided they want to start making some productions too. Because I just look at before you stop a certain activity, there must be a remedy, and so I want to believe the federal government that if it does not, then it is one of those things, those policies that we have been condemning here and there. For example, we did not have enough money. We did not have enough new naira notes, and somebody said we should stop spending the old naira note and etc.
We can't even find the new naira notes in circulation anymore.
That is lack of strategy. When you don't, you don't involve your strategies where it ought to be. You formulate a strategy, you implement a strategy, then you now evaluate a strategy. But unfortunately, Nigerian government, the Osbc administration, have decided to come up with policies. They formulate policies. Implementation stage sometimes we lose. Not even talking about, evaluation stage. And so the moment, I had the federal government made up its mind on this kind of things, I believe that they have something, or maybe we have not seen. They've not unraveled their very reasons for, trying to stop the importation of vehicles. Though 12-year-old vehicle also, if they stop them, the question will be those that have been in the port, what happens to them? If you go to the port today, you'll be embarrassed that the activities at the port. People have their vehicles brought in, some of them seized, and the question will, okay, if customs seize some of these cars, what do they do with them? They sell them.
They sell them.
And so the essence of, what is the essence of even banning? Well, we are asking you to, open the borders so that we can have cross-border food exchange and etc. The social amenities, those things that will be of benefit to the ordinary person on the street, and you're talking about banning vehicles. How many people really have access to them now?
Thank you very much, comrade. How many people even have access to them? Now, you were talking about probably maybe the government has a plan to, put up some plants, or maybe there are plants that are, maybe they want to start working or whatever. But then, 60 something years, a nation that is as big as we are, giant of Africa, that is what we are called, that is what we are named. There used to be a plant, Peugeot,
in Kaduna,
and nobody has been hearing anything about. In fact, I don't even think there is any Peugeot out there anymore. And what happens to that plant? What are the plans of the federal government? Resuscitating that one, or springing up another one? And the only source that people are getting vehicles from, how many people can afford to buy Chiaroba.
Not the Tokubo. What about Tokubo? You're talking about you see people celebrating Tokubo, a vehicle used by someone
for years.
For years, brought in. You buy and start calling your friends. Come, let's pop a champagne because I just bought a car. And so, if they want us to start using new vehicles, let them put machineries in motion, so that every individual will have access. Those who are qualified to. It's not everybody. It's not everybody that is qualified. Like I always say, allow people to have a standard of living. Let them have what it takes. Qualify them for whichever position they occupy in the society. The moment that is not happening, then it is a failure on the part of the government. But be that as it may, let us look at the assembly plant in Kaduna. What has happened to it? What are we doing with them? The Ajaokuta steel of recent, I heard it's coming back on stream and etc. Up until this moment, we've not even heard much about it. And so, policies, it's of stages. Formulate one, implement before looking at evaluation. The moment your policy formulation has not taken a correct route, the implementation stage will be a problem. Just like the CBN plan. They had a policy, they came up with a policy, they formulated the policy of Naira redesigning. They find difficult implementing. Talk less of evaluation. When you have not been able to implement, you can't evaluate.
And some people got themselves enriched.
Yes.
Through the process.
All this up to this moment, there are some POS people that are still selling 10,000 for 2,000 and etc. Up till this moment.
Thank you so very much. Let's look at customs themselves. Now that the federal government has placed ban on importation of vehicles of like that 12 years, you know, sometimes ago they keep running after people who are using tokumbo cars, and they will be asking for papers, the papers that they were supposed to have given to them at the border, clearing papers, border clearing, and they will now be running after people in the cities, in the villages, you know, seizing their cars, collecting huge amounts of money. Is this not another way? The federal government is paving another way for customs to start harassing people. How old is your vehicle? When did you bring it in? And stuff like that, even at the border.
Without trying to hide under a finger, things have not been working well in this country, and until we have sincere people who really have the love of this country at heart, who have the love of the ordinary person at heart. Up to this, we have still not gotten them. One of the things that makes me unhappy is seeing a custom person within a town. When a vehicle had passed through the borders and your colleagues are there, and you run after vehicles in the town, start saying, yeah, we know there are also people who have, roots in the bush where vehicles, even those bushes that are still custom officers.
They are there now.
They collect the money there illegally. They don't remit such to government coffers and etc. And you meet them in the town. That's why sometimes you see some people fighting them like, we are paid to your people. So why harassing us in the town again? So let us tell our brothers who have your privilege of, because it is a competition, huge amount of money, exchange hands for people to join customs now, because they believe that the moment you get in there, you make your money.
Start making your money.
And we don't know if they sell agbado or epa, like the president-elect will say. So if we want Nigeria a progressive country, all of us will be ready. Almost every parastatal is affected. Some today, if you decide to stand on the right path, you become enemies to majority, because the negativities are taking over the right path. People believe in you doing the wrong thing, and they praising you than doing the right thing, and everybody will just pass by. Look at the crazy ones among them are the people trending now. The decent ones,
nobody wants to listen.
But for a Davido that has a good background, and we have not seen him go too much out of decency, majority of the musicians believes that in a balance, they say we're laughing potter. That if you are not a crazy person, you can't make it in Nigeria. You only pot it by. And look at the footballers too. See Nigerian footballers, see the decent ones. See Sunday Olise, for example. See Kanu Wanko and Okocha. They plaited their hairs and etc. And those are role models of people. Sometimes in the class we look at students and say, why have you pierced your ears? Said, that is what my role model does. And said, why would you not have the role model that made it without doing all those things? Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi is a good role model. He has not pierced his ears, he has not pierced his nose, and he has not done anything, but he is very intelligent. You must read to be intelligent. The moment you have it, like I always tell the students, it is good for you to study. If you study very hard, people will come looking for you.
Exactly.
You wouldn't want to be looking, you wouldn't bother yourself looking for friends. They will want to be your friends because they know you have what they want. But the moment you don't read, those negative kind of students would also influence you to do things in their way. And so Nigeria must be ready. Anybody given the opportunity to occupy one office or the other must be ready. We need very sincere people. Like I've recently been telling the president-elect, if anybody close to him will listen to us, he should dwell on the youth. The youth are no longer ready to be leaders of tomorrow. They have what it takes to be leaders today. We have seen them. Yes, some of them might not have performed as expected, but some of them are also gone above board. They head corporate institutions that they are doing very well. It is those of them you bring into politics that you bring back that negativities in you, you pour it on them and force them to do some of these things. It is not every youth that you can bring to government and you want to push around. Some of us will not even listen to you because we know that if you amass all the wealth today, you are not sure of, benefiting from it. God may take your life before the next morning. Some of us have the fear of God in us, and that it is difficult for anybody to want to push us around. The youth are ready. Mr. President-elect, the youth are ready. Get them into government and hit the ground running like you're always saying.
Thank you.
And so Nigeria needs people who really are ready to make sure that this country works.
Thank you so much. Having said that, you mentioned something the other time that the vehicles seized, be it at the border or in town for one reason or the other, the imported vehicles. What do they do? What do our customs do with those vehicles? In
the next 5 years, the port cannot be decongested because we have more than enough vehicles that are seized. And the customs at the end of the day, they will tell us they are auctioning. And by the time you ask the questions, how much is the custom remitting to government coffers? We knew how much current jam registrar remits in government coffers. Let them come out, tell us that all the vehicles they have been taking, they've been remitting what they get out of the sales of those vehicles into the government coffers. Let them tell us how much.
Do you know that some people even say that these custom people bring their friends, their family members
to buy?
Yes.
Of course, now they do.
To come for auction.
They do. Majority of them have their families as car dealers now, because when they auction for 200,000, they know it's a vehicle that was 3, 4, 6 million, and so they want to sell at cheap. So that majority of the customs have car stands by proxy. People sell on their behalf. They come to buy. Say, okay, sell to him. Yes, he says we don't need anything. We don't have anything doing with the vehicle again. They push it out and it is in their car stand.
So how sure are we that the money goes to the government coffers?
That is what I'm saying. That insincerity as pervade. You see, we must all be ready to have a rebirth in this country. Let everybody start from their private environment, cubicle. Let everybody be ready that okay, yes, this country must work. The moment we all make up our mind to make this country work, it will work. But if we continue in this deception of I am the best, it is not good enough, and you get there, and the moment you get there, you run away from I don't want my family to go back into poverty. They will still go back to it if they are destined to. We have had rich people in Nigeria today. MK Abiola died because of democracy. How many of his children have become governors or ministers or commissioners? How many of his children? He has them. When MK Abiola was reigning, in terms of riches in this country, we almost did not know we had there other people who had money. We didn't know we didn't have the name of the Dantatas. We know they existed, but their names were not as pronounced as it's been pronounced through Dangote now.
Yeah.
But where are the children? So people should learn from that. If an MK Abiola as big as he was, then we do not have his children running in the shoes, it means that whatever you take home negatively, forcefully, making sure you punish others because your family must live fine, you may die and none of them will inherit it or benefit from it.
Thank you so much for that. That's word of admonition. Now let's look at the ban placed on importation of wine, beers, drinks. Let's just say drinks and some other things. Is this not going to affect, and the high taxes placed on them too, is this not going to affect the consumers, the retailers and the consumers? Is the bulk of the load, is it not going to be placed on the masses?
It's not placed on the masses. It is placed on those who consume.
Those who consume.
The major question will be can value. Me, I'm very happy. It's one of those things I will celebrate. If high taxes are placed on anything alcoholic, I will celebrate it. Okay. Because till this moment I don't know the value. If somebody, I've had cause to call some of my students, you are drunk. Yes, okay. What is the value of drinking? They can't defend it. Now, whatever you do that does not add value to your life is of no consequence. I am a wrong person for anybody to be interviewed on anything alcoholic, because I'll condemn it. I will even wish it's not even imported again. Because anything that intoxicates, anything that makes you run temporary out of brain functioning, I do not go into with it. So if the government likes, let them place 100 naira ban on 100 million naira ban on it. I mean, let them increase the taxes on beer. If you buy a bottle of beer, should be 10,000. A bottle of wine should be 1 million. Let them continue. That is good. Okay. So that those who really, because it is so much abused that sometimes you get into class and students have pelebe in their mouth. They want, and you ask them, what does this do for you? Some of them will come into class. We have seen people writing exams. They drink the pelebe, one or two, and they sleep off. When you start asking others to submit, you also submit a script and go out. So what good has that done to his life? But that does you see, and majority of them you find difficult blaming them because it is what they learned from home. When as a parent you give your child money to go and start buying beer, you are training the guy to drink ogogoro because he will step up. The guy will not go in tune with you. So it is good as far as I'm concerned. The only areas I also heard that they are trying to raise taxes on some drugs. They are stopping some importation of some drugs and etc. If we have alternative in Nigeria, why not? But if you don't have, we should temper mercy
on that aspect.
But if we have alternatives, there's no problem. But anything that intoxicates, personally, I am sorry the audience may not like this, but as a person, I support it 100%.
That's your own view.
Yes, my view.
Thank you so very much. Now let's go to our borders. How porous are our borders?
You see, I remember in 1990, my daddy's car was snatched in Lagos at a trade fair access around Abuja, Amu Ward of access on the way to Ojo
Badagry Road,
Badagry Yonoba, and we were advised to go through the border area because when they pick it up like that, they face. And when we got to an environment, we were going through the border and somebody said, no, you don't have to go through that place. Move through this bush path. You meet the customs there, tell them what you want. You move from there. We got into the bush path. They came out of the bush. They were roughly dressed. We were afraid. I think my uncle, my senior uncle, my dad, and myself and one other person, 4 of us, were in the vehicle. We almost turned back. So when they got close to us, and they said, okay. My dad now said my car was snatched, and I was asked to look around here. They asked us the brand of the vehicle and etc. And we moved on. They asked us to move on. They gave us a direction. until we approach Cotonou without going through the border. We did not see the vehicle, and somebody told us, the last person told us that the vehicle would have been dismantled. That there's a point when they drove the vehicle into, within 10 minutes, even if you see the car, you won't recognize your car again, and etc. At that time. And we talk about porosity at the borders. Let us always ask our customs officers what led to it. What is their contribution? Where are their men? Where are they making their money? You see, it is just we shout about border closure. Are goods not coming into the country? They come. And are they coming? Do they come? Even those the vehicles we talk about that people go through the bush patch, they meet the customs that they pay. They pay all necessary duties. In your state here, or your area, or your axis, I learned there are places where whatever you are bringing into the country, you can bring them through the place and pay your money. The moment you are ready to pay, they will allow you go. Rice importation, has it stopped?
It has not.
It can't say it. Sometimes you go to places where you want, but they tell you.
And you know the funny thing about
you
the
want
rice
an importation or imported one, or
when you are in public vehicle, or even when you are driving your car, these customs will stop you on the highway and start checking under the boot, checking the trunk of your car, checking under the seat of a public.
And you see the vehicles
searching for rice.
You see rice. You see vehicles loaded with rice and passing by. Because they have taken what they want to take from them. So we need sincerity. Nigeria needs people who really are ready to be sincere. People who know that when they sleep, they may not wake up again. Until we have that. It is not about I want to be the best among. It is the people who really are ready. That okay, if I sleep today, do I have any assurances of waking up tomorrow? If I don't have any assurance of waking up tomorrow, then let me do the right thing so that they will have good things to say about me. People are no longer bothered about their names. That is why you give somebody an opportunity to go into political office and he amass wealth, and because he wants people to worship him. They worship you today, they can't worship your children. It is so bad, so much so that people, when they leave offices, they want to bring their children to take over from them and etc. A public office.
Thank you so much, Comrade Fatai Tijani. I want to believe that we are enjoying what is dishing out to us today on AM Cafe. Yes, before we go, let's go back to our ports. You said the other time that in another 6 months, the ports cannot be decongested.
Enough.
What do we do? Is it that the papers of those goods are not ready, or the customs are not doing enough, or the port authority are at fault? What is our problem in this country?
Insincerity.
Or we are waiting for them to bribe us before we clear their goods?
It's as simple as it is. The people whose vehicle, before a vehicle leaves Germany, America, UK, whatever, they are tested. More so, they see this country as a dumping ground, and when they allow the vehicles to come in, you have your own. There are ways those vehicles are tested, and the moment those vehicles are tested, if you don't want to accept them, let them butcher them at that place, and the individual knows that he's no longer having vehicles. We have people who have vehicles stashed in the ports for 10-15 years, and they are still there, all tires gone and etc.
And some other valuables.
So at the end of the day, when they know people have started forgetting they have goods and etc., they will start auctioning them to themselves, not selling them off. When you say sell them, that is even considerable. When they sell them off to the people that needs them, that is considerable. But they sell to themselves by proxy. Almost every senior custom officer has a car stand, and you want to die. You have made people cry, and you want your children to laugh. No, it is not possible. God is not a God of confusion. He knows it. He sees it. And He will make you feel it. As we have mentioned, we have seen very rich people whose children are nowhere. So, no matter how rich you become, your children that thing a majority of us work because of our children. Abi, want to build a house so that we rented the house, we don't have our children to rent, they want them to live in our own home and etc. And That is why we work very hard. We want to give them the best of the best education because maybe we did not have it enough and etc. At the end of the day, if we don't do it the right way, if we don't get it the right way, the children will not even benefit from themselves, talk less of anybody benefiting from them. And so until we need to be sincere. Insincerity is the bane of whatever that is killing this country. It is insincerity. People we have had in government have not been the sincere type of people. There are people who wants to go into the office, carry everything home, and whether or not anybody benefit or whether or not anybody has what they want or qualified to have is none of their business. And so we will continue until such a time that people are really ready.
Until such a time that people are really ready. When President Buhari, PMB, when he came on board, people thought that Nigeria would change for the best. People felt that this is the time that discipline will come back. This is the time that people would no longer be, lazy. This is the time that corruption will be a thing of the past in this country. This is the time that everything will work for us. But then, it is the other way around.
Well, I don't believe
what killed those beliefs.
I don't believe it is the other way around. Some of us also had a lot of trust in him and etc. But we were looking at his military antecedents, and most times it does not work that way. He didn't have the capacity to read the riot act. It needs to pass through the house, and the house has enough people who are representing all of us. And when the bill gets there, they will kill the bill. And so it is things we know. I was also looking at it from that angle before that. Oh, this man, we had a lot of trust in him. We believed so much in him. We thought he was going to be able to do this or that, but unfortunately. But I must say also that, like I've been preaching, the current president-elect Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs the right set of people around him. Most times we always look at the man in charge. We look at the president. Yes, what is the president doing? But we forget easily that every ministry or agencies are manned by people. And when those people are insincere, there is nothing the man at the top center can do. It is not possible for Buhari to wake up today and go to the Ministry of Education to work because he doesn't have that qualification. It is not possible for him to go to Ministry of Science and Technology to work. It's not easy for him to even go to Ministry of Labor and Productivity to work. But he has people who are manning those places. At the moment those people are not sincere, it will affect the entire. I mean, look at the situation where a labor minister would be sitting by professors in the university and be telling them no work, no pay. And you just look at him, what qualifies him to be a labor minister? More so when we have Ministry of Education. Why should he be the labor that will be negotiating? Because we have a professor who is manning the Ministry of Education. If he's a true professor that has gone through the university, he has worked in the university, has gone through lecturing and knows that the refineries are not functioning, the people working there are making much more than the professors in the universities are making. The refineries that is not producing liters of fuel for Nigerians has people working there. They drive in there every day and close every day without adding any value to this country.
And they get paid.
And they get paid huge amounts, much more than the professor will earn in university. And so if that kind of person is that, you don't blame. I can blame him because he's the head. But I won't blame him because he has appointed people to work around him, and it's those people who have not been able to do much. For example, now, if you talk about the plus for this administration, you can't do without mentioning Ifashola on the road infrastructure. Yes, some people say, somebody said, yeah, no, what has he done? I said he has done much. Our own father, Pa Obasanjo, was the president of this country, and Ibadan Lagos road was not fixed. And so Buhari is fixing it through a Fashola now, and we should give him a plus. Within Lagos to Ogun, through Sangota and etc., those roads were left untouched when Baba was there for 8 years. But then Fashola has fixed it, and it is now motorable. So what we are just saying in essence is that everybody getting into the office must be ready and sincere.
Yes, must be ready and sincere. Now that takes us back to where we were coming from. The ban placed on importation of vehicles and some other things. we are focusing mainly on customs this morning. Is it that if anything should work right in that area, is it the custom officer or the port authority or the minister?
The custom controls the port. The port authority has little or nothing. They need the appendage of the custom to move a vehicle, to move goods out of that environment.
So the minister has nothing to do about it?
The minister of what? Minister of transportation. The minister of transportation cannot dictate how goods. Is not a professional in that line. The customs world over are placed to checkmate the goods that comes in and goes out of the country.
What about the ministers that work in those areas? Customs, we have Minister of Interior, vehicles coming in, going out, all those things. We have another minister in that area. Can't all of them come together, talk to these people, decongest this area? Let's see what we can do to move this country forward.
You see, the Custom Act is Director General, and the man in charge of it now was not a custom officer. He was a retired military man, and the man reports directly to the president. There are some agencies that are under ministries are not reporting to the minister in that ministry.
They report directly to the president.
They report directly to the president, because the people they are placed there are even bigger than the minister, and so the minister has little or nothing to even contribute in terms of what happens there. And so until such a time we stop politicking,
and that's why
we want to be sincere.
That was why I mentioned it the other time, that all what we expected PMB to do, we didn't get all those things.
Because at a forum, close forum, I said, why did Baba even contest for presidency? And I concluded by saying that he wanted to break Obasanjo's record. That if I am military president, I am also a military president. If I am a civilian president, I'm also a president. Otherwise, he said it more than 2-3 months ago that I was tired. And so it means that he didn't really suffer. He might have contested, yes, noise here and there, not because he really has
what it takes
much to offer, but because they want to break the record of an individual who wants to prove as being all in all. That's the way I see it, because when names are mentioned of doing things wrongly, I expected that he would just sack them the day after. Emefiele should not be in the office today, where things are working. The EFCC chairman has been alleged he should not be in the office where things are working. There are so many of them like that. The Labour Party Labour minister should not be in the office where things are working. Some of them voluntarily, yes, the Minister of State for Education voluntarily resigned, but we have not seen him taking such actions. Now I believe the president-elect is a Democrat and knows what politics is, and eventually we may see difference in all the administration we have been having in this country.
Thank you so much. And finally, with this importation of vehicles and the ban placed on it, there are a lot of people who who feed their families through this business. In fact, some look for vehicles.
Custom agents.
Some look for vehicles that are even more than 15 years, 20 years. They want to bring it in, sell, send their children to school, make little money for their families and things like that. That is their business. They look for things. Some people even here, they look for old things to buy from you. They know where to sell it to just to make little money. Some look for scraps. That is what they do. What about those people who look for, vehicles of longer years in the market to bring in, to sell and make little money for their family, just to fend for their family? What do you have to tell them now?
What is not legal is not legal. What is
I'm
legal
not saying
is legal.
that they should.
Listen to me, man. I understand you quite right. We cannot, if we want the country to work, we would, let government policies and directions be adhered to. I want to believe that they have reasons for the banning. They've been there for almost 8 years now. So if they've decided to do that, I don't think it is. We should just start looking at it from the angle of, because they want to I mean, they want to send people out of businesses. If you are doing the right business, nobody can send you out of it.
Okay.
If it is 15 years old and you want 12 years old, start buying 12 years old, just to make sure that your children. You see, nobody is living to self-pity. It is not attracted in the rule of law. It is not attracted in policy making and etc. Look at what we went through the Naira redesign. The man never cared, and some of us feels that it's because he has people benefiting from it, and that is why he is not bothered. Otherwise, Chief Emefiele should not be in the office. If it is a system that really works, even without being sent away, in Senate climes, people will voluntarily resign. That yes, this is a failed policy. This is a policy that affected the very fabrics of this country. Everybody went through it.
A lot of people died.
And so people died and etc. And so, but that person is still in the office. That part of us in Nigeria is one of the things that is not making things work in this country. People don't throw in the towel when they fail.
Okay, so what you're saying now is that what is fair is fair.
It's fair.
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate you, sir, Comrade Fatai Tijani, for coming on the show.
Thank you so very much for the opportunity.
I want to say thank you to our viewers at home. Thank you so much for watching us on OSBC TV every time. And this is where we're going to stop on today's edition of AM Cafe. We have brought to you what the federal government wants, and we have discussed it. The custom officer should play their part well. The politicians too should play their part well. Mr. President, before you leave office, do something to correct some anomalies in the system. And the president-elect too, what do you have for him?
Well, like I said earlier, he needs the youth. He needs those who are ready, who really love this country. And let me also quickly add that the NLC national president is not acting well. I think he should be told, for those who are close to him, you don't start threatening the judiciary because you are thinking a case should go in a certain way. You don't start it. You went to the court when you lost an election against Ayuba Waba. You even formed a parallel union against Ayuba Waba. Now you are there, you are threatening the same court. We are not, the real comrades don't act the way you are acting. So please, for those who have access to him, they should tell him he's not doing it. He has not started well at all.
Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, when we come your way with yet another interesting edition of AM Cafe. I want to thank you so very much for coming on, for joining us. I want to thank you, comrade, for your contribution this morning. My name remains Titi Lokwe Ajiboye. Wherever you are, please do the needful, because fair is fair. Good morning.